Hey everyone, I am NyQuil and welcome to my corner of the internet where I draw and talk about my current hyperfixations that take away too much space in my brain. About 4 weeks ago, I held a poll where you can vote what kind of video you wanted to see next. A few people voted and the result was a crossover like in one of my previous videos, where I put Genshin characters into the Percy Jackson universe. This time, I wanted to do something else and try to come up with something fun. One of my favorite animes is My Hero Academia, and I recently had another DnD session with my party, when it hit me. What if I drew MHA characters if they were in Dungeons & Dragons? And that's what I did. I chose 3 of my favorite characters in the show and gave them their own specific D&D class I thought would suit their personality and ability traits. For those of you who don't know what D&D is, it's basically a role-playing game where you hop into the role of a character you created within the rules of the game. And you go on quests and adventures mostly in a party. The story is narrated by a dungeon master and the characters all have a race, like elves, and a class like warriors, and so on. And with that out of the way, let's start with our first adventure, shall we? First up is Kyoko Jiro. Kyoko's class is Bard. Since she was little, she enjoyed singing and playing on her lute her father gifted her. She grew up in the city of Neverwinter, which is located near Mount Hotenau and lies on the Sword Coast. Though most bards are very charismatic and outgoing, Kyoko never really fit the stereotype. Even though she was extremely talented, she never had the courage to sing or play in front of a crowd. While she loves music, she also always wanted to venture the world and become a hero who helps other people in need. When one day, the word in town goes around that in the nearly located Waterdeep, City of Splendor, a new adventurers guild opened that was nothing like any before. The Guild of Ascending Heroes was what it was called. And instead of just sending out adventurers on missions, this guild wanted to focus on forging the members into the best heroes the world has ever seen, and to give them the best possible training they could. When Kyoko heard about this new guild, she set out to Waterdeep, in hopes of becoming a hero. And who knows, maybe even overcoming her performance fear? I could see the story becoming a D&D campaign, to be honest. It would be fun to play it. I tried to put the UA High School from My Hero Academia into D&D, just merging it a bit that it fits more to the fantasy aspect. So I made it a guild instead. About the design, I struggled a lot with this drawing for some reason. The pose wasn't clicking, and I had to use multiple attempts to just get the drawing right. But in the end, it all worked out. I drew her gripping her lute instead of playing it because I thought it would fit more to the stage fear performance kind of thing. The rectangles on her blouse and the drop on her choker are a reference to the rectangles on her face in her original design. And the patterns on her boots are resembling sound waves. I tried to do something about her earphone jack quirk, and I came up with the earrings. I also made them the color of her face rectangles, because I thought it would fit nicely with the color scheme. I gave her half-fingerless gloves to play her lute better, her jacket mimicking the one she has in her hero costume, and I gave her a whip for a weapon, also paying tributes to her original quirk. I changed her hair a bit, since I don't really like it how it is in the original. You may notice that she doesn't have a lot of weapons, and that's because bards in D&D can also cast spells. So here's a few I picked out for her. Most of these spells I picked out are similar to her quirk she has in the original anime. For example, Thunder Wave, Locate Creature, Locate Object, and Booming Blade. I thought a little bit about the place she came from, and I chose Neverwinter because it's a bit similar to her canon home of Shizuoka. I hope I said that right. I chose Bard as our class because In the anime, Jiro is a really musically skilled person. Also her quirk being earphone jack, so also music oriented. I thought it would fit, and that's Kyoka Jiro, the melodic hero, all finished. Let's move on to the next candidate.
I'm Kyoka Jiro. Nice to meet you.
Next up is Mina Ashido. Mina's class is a rogue. She grew up in Waterdeep, also known as the City of Splendor, a big metropolis with a pretty mixed population and a lot of ship and city trade. Mina takes the wide variety of species positively. With her being a tiefling, she's not always welcome everywhere, which may also come from her stealing stuff as part of her profession. But who actually cares? As long as she doesn't get caught during her shenanigans, everything should be fine. Mina doesn't know much about her parents, and she has been wandering the alleys of Waterdeep alone for a long time. Mina loves dancing and is a really athletic person, but besides being a tiefling, she does not have a lot of other magical or fantastical abilities, so she tends to use other things to help her do a job. She once found a decanter of endless acid on one of her raids. She only knew about decanters of endless water, but acid? Now that sounds exciting. One day, she almost got caught by the city guards and barely got away. With the guards seeing her, it wouldn't be safe for her to continue this lifestyle of thievery. But maybe there was a way for her to still continue residing in her home city. She recently caught wind of a new adventurers guild opening that was training their members instead of instantly sending them out on missions. What was it called again? Right, Guild of Ascending Heroes. Kinda sounds like school. Mina never went to school, and she's not particularly strong academically. But she could at least try, right? And maybe she will be something more than just a girl trying to survive. I kinda like the concept of Mina as a rogue. I chose this class for her because I thought it would fit her acrobatic and athletic body type and could kind of play into the fact that she likes dancing. In DnD, there are a lot of subclasses, which I didn't include in this video just because it would have been a lot more complicated if I would have put all of the subclasses in. And I just thought it would fit her pretty well. This strong is probably my favorite out of the bunch. Though it took me the longest, I really like how it turned out. I made her tiefling because it made more sense. I wanted to keep her horns and her pink skin, and I didn't want to give her a normal skin color like I did with the following character and with Jiro. So I just made her a tiefling. And because it's just more fun than a human. Her horns are ending in a yellow just to mimic her original horns. The buttons on her purple cape are resembling the ones she has in her hero costume. I gave her basic loose pants that are easy to move in, since she's probably jumping around a lot. I gave her a few bags just to store like stolen goods and everything. A decanter of endless water, similar to her quirk, but I made it a decanter of endless acid instead. I know it's kind of cheating to do that, but hey, I'm the story writer here. I gave her a dagger of venom to deal extra damage, because besides the fact that she has a decanter of endless poison, she doesn't really have any other things to defend herself with, so a dagger shall do. I picked Waterdeep as a place of residence for her because it has a few similarities to her canon home of Chiba Prefecture in Japan. And so is Mina Ashido, the Swift Hero, also finished. Now let's move on to our last character.
I'm Mina Cheeto.
Next up is Katsuki Bakugo. Katsuki's class is Barbarian. I'll call him by his first name because I did it for the other characters too. Katsuki is a very hot-headed individual whose favorite hobby probably consists of lashing onto his enemies with rage. He also grew up in the city of Neverwinter, near the volcano that gives the city its name. Katsuki was already a skilled warrior from a young age, which only gave him more pride in himself. His goal? Become the best hero the world has ever seen. Or whatever that's supposed to mean. Being a barbarian, he was fond of the fire as a useful tool for all kinds of things. And he also had some kind of fascination for it. For quite some time now, the fire elementals on Mount Hotenau have been a threat to the people living in Neverwinter, but no one ever really did something about it. At some point, Katsuki had enough of the constant fear that the other people were living in. It was annoying the hell out of him. So he decided to take matters into his own hands and go defeat the monsters himself. He heard a rumor that there was a legendary artifact hidden in the volcano, a ring of fire elemental command. With that, it would be an ease to win against the fire creatures. So he went on a mountain to find the ring and finish this threat to his city once and for all. After succeeding doing so, he continued his journey into the regions of Icewind Dale to get a name for himself. When one day he got another letter from his parents, who were writing about some kind of new adventurers guild in Waterdeep. The Guild of Ascending Heroes was what it was called. Huh? And they were claiming to train the best heroes in the entire world? Huh. He'll show them who's the best, he thought, as he made his way to Waterdeep. I'm sure he will be a great member to join the party. I mean, they need a fighter after all, right? Bakugo was the first one I did out of all the drawings. I like it a lot, I'll say. There are some things I would change now, but I'm happy with it overall. The cross strings on the jacket are resembling the ones in his hero suit, and the thick winter clothes he has that are kinda untypical for barbarians. I chose those because he was, like I said, he was traveling in the Icewind Dale regions, and those are kind of the northern regions in DnD. So it would make sense for him to have a bit thicker clothing. I drew his hands in the pocket, not because I was too lazy to draw the hand. Okay, maybe a little bit but it also has another reason. Because in the show he usually has one hand in his pocket, and I thought it would just be a fun reference to the original. I gave him a strike axe with a fire symbol on it. There's not much thought behind it, just that barbarians usually have an axe. And I gave him, like I said before, a ring of fire elemental control that makes him immune to fire elementals and gives him an advantage to fight against them. To imitate his quirk, I functioned the necklace of fireballs into a bracelet of fireballs that he can shoot them from his hands. So it's kind of similar, I guess. And I also made him live in Neverwinter because he's also from Shizuoka, like Jiro. And last but not least, that's Katsuki Bakugo, the raging hero, all finished.
Name's Katsuki Bakugo.
I'd say overall I'm pretty happy with the final designs. Tell me who's your favorite down in the comments. And thanks for watching, and like always, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, whatever. And see you next time. Bye!